Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 7, and today we're taking a look at the 1985 Mazda RX-7 GSL-SE. Now this is part of the first generation produced between 1978 and 1985, with more than 471,000 being made, making this one of the most popular sports coupes ever, and with good reason, as we'll see later. And this generation was split between three different series, with this being the Series 3 and the last series in this generation, produced between 1984 and 1985. Combined with the new fuel-injected engine, this took the options from the prior series in the GSL package and improved upon them basically, as it took the four-wheel discs that were part of the GSL package and enlarged the rotors. Also took the clutch type limited slip diff from that GSL package, combined with obviously the better discs, and makes for better handling, as well as obviously the upgraded suspension that it got that provided stiffer springs and stiffer shocks. So one of those cars that is really underrated, I find, in terms of comparison to other RX-7s. Being the first generation, it's not going to have the most power or even the best looks, but especially compared to the classic one from the 90s that everybody loves. But for me personally, I prefer this to the one from the 90s. Granted, I like the 1990 Mazda RX-7 Savannah really rather well. This doesn't quite beat that compared to as far as I'm concerned, but this is still a cracking vehicle in its own right, and I've grown to appreciate it a whole lot more. And plenty of reasons for that. One, I really like the 80s interior. Granted, it does have ruched leather on the doors there, but I really do like that 80s stereo, which is typically Japanese, and then it has a lot of buttons which you can fiddle around with to get the best sound possible, which as far as I'm concerned is always a good thing. And you got nice red on black dials and a decent amount of room, quite frankly, especially for a coupe. Now I'm really glad they haven't tried to squeeze two seats in the back there, which is always a good thing, especially since it means that it's got a really rather spacious boot, as you can see there. Wide enough as well to get the widest of things in that you could possibly get in a car of this size, and pretty good on that front. Got twin exhausts as well, and being an RX-7, it's endlessly upgradable in terms of different elements, in terms of the front bumper, the side skirts, the rear bumper, and the spoiler. As I will show you now, if I can find the right bit. Pretty sure there's a wheel bit there at the beginning. So here you go. You can change the spoiler. I actually prefer it with this Kaminari spoiler on the back. It just makes it look a little bit, more complete, especially since it is obviously a rear-wheel drive vehicle, so it could do with a little bit of a spoiler at the back there, and obviously the original Forza thing. But you're not going to get that in real life. So you can get a Kaminari spoiler there. You can get different front bumpers. Out of those three, I like that one the best. But then again, I like that one a bit as well. Not massively fond of that one though. And you can also get a rear bumper, like I said. Not a fan of really any of those bumpers, to be honest. That one's probably the most normal looking one. The other two look a bit too extreme for me as far as I'm concerned. And then get side skirts as well, if you so wish, which will improve drag and the like. They're probably the better ones as far as I'm concerned. So three different manufacturers there providing three different kind of things for the vehicle. I like a mixture of all three. And it's also got pop-up headlights, which is always a good thing, as you can see there. And the engine is a really, really good engine as well. Don't know why we're not being let to look into it. I guess looking at the bumpers and the like has glitched this car out for some reason. But there's the engine, as you can see. So it's a 1.3 litre Wankel rotary engine, producing a really healthy 135 horsepower and 133 pounds-feet of torque, which is pretty damn good, to be honest, especially for a car that only weighs 2,575 pounds. So quite lightweight. Got a fair decent amount of power, so you can use that power really rather well with having very little in the way of weight. And being rear-wheel drive and having that upgraded suspension and the better brakes means that this is easily one of the more underrated sports cars from the 80s. Although obviously the decade of the 80s isn't really well represented in Forza games, I find. It's really rather woeful in terms of American cars, and Japanese cars is even worse, quite frankly. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the track and see what this car can do. So yeah, apologise for the mess up in the Forza Vista mode there with the not letting us show the engine, but yeah, nonetheless the engine is really rather good. It's easily one of the better Wanko rotary engines on the Forza series. As yeah, it's not a massively high revving one, only up to 7,000 RPM, but yeah, because it has plenty of torque and the engine does sound really rather good in any way. It's yeah, like I said, one of the best sounding rotary engines on this game, and yeah, also one of the best uses of a Wanko rotary engine as well, because yeah, it's not down on torque like some Wanko rotary engines are. It's got a healthy amount of torque to go with the really rather good horsepower, which means that even though it's far from the quickest of vehicles on this game, especially in rear-wheel drive coupes, it's still got a decent acceleration time of of 8.8 seconds to 60, 25.019 seconds to 100, and yeah, it's got a really good top speed of 132 miles an hour, which, when you consider other vehicles from this period with less than 200 horsepower, would struggle to do that. It's really rather good. In comparison, an Alfa Romeo GTV6, which has more power and more torque from a much bigger engine, can only do 131. So, yeah, because obviously these cars are really rather quite light in weight and it has a decent amount of power, means that its acceleration and top speed is above average, certainly. And yeah, the power is able to be used because it has all the new disc brakes, the better suspension, and obviously the limited slip diff at the rear, meaning that yeah, even though it does have a little bit of a wobble in terms of suspension, because yeah, even though it is stiffer, it's still got to be meant for road use. It's yeah, got plenty of grip, plenty of handling, and yeah, is more than capable of dealing with other cars that have more power and from bigger engines. And yeah, really enjoy driving it. With these reviews on this on Forza 7, now that we're coming back to this game, because there are several, at least 24 cars that I have missed in terms of reviewing. Yeah, I've grown to appreciate other cars that I never necessarily gave the time of day, and this is one of them. So yeah, really glad I'm doing these reviews again, because it's helping me to appreciate other cars that I might well have missed or overlooked in favour of other vehicles that stood out to me more at the time. So yeah, if you haven't ever driven this RX-7, then I highly recommend it. It's easily one of the best, not only coupes from the 80s, but also one of the best Japanese cars. Granted, I've never loved Japanese cars all the time. There are several that I really rather hate, but there are also several that I really rather love, and yeah, this is easily one of those cars. So yeah, I recommend giving it a try out, because yeah, it's well worth the effort. And yeah, if you want to personalise it, you can with the extra bumper, side skirts, rear bumpers and spoilers if you so wish. And obviously you can do other upgrades like the engine and suspension and the like if you want to take this car even further than they did originally. But yeah, cracking vehicle. And yeah, really looking forward to trying out other vehicles on this game that I, like I said, have overlooked. And yeah, this is well up there with the best of them that I have tried out so far in my own time. And yeah, we'll hopefully get more cars reviewed on this game in the future, and yeah, if they're even half as good as this Mazda, then yeah, they should be a treat to drive. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.